Welcome back to Under Oath. Welcome back to Under Oath. Today we're talking to actor Danny Pino from Law and Order, Cold Case, and his new show, Hotel Cocaine. Danny, can you hear me?
I can. Hey, Jeff. How are you?
We're out of Central Florida, but believe it or not, I actually went to Miami Killian.
Oh, wow. So we were neighbors. I went to Miami Coral Park.
Yeah. We used to play. I remember those football games. Those were, but that was back, before the millennials. So those are different days.
So yeah, those were different days for sure.
Now, what I love about Hotel Cocaine is a lot of people don't know. Before South Beach got big, it was all about Coconut Grove. And that's where I grew up and I played and everything else like that. I assume you had some adventures out there in high school.
Yeah, it was definitely the place to be, was Coconut Grove. I mean, you had Crosby, Stills, and Nash writing songs about the mutiny, hanging out in the mutiny, along with other rock stars and socialites and movie stars, along with the marimberos, the cocaine cowboys, and their counterparts at the DEA. It was sort of ground zero.
What's interesting about your show is a lot of people won't pick up on it because what they might know about Miami is Miami Vice. They might know Scarface. But I think your show really touches upon what Miami was really like back in the 70s.
Well, it's the antecedent to all of that. It's prior to Scarface. It's prior to Miami Vice. It's what started to transform the city from sort of a vacation, retirement, sort of sleepy area that was really meant to be, more subdued, and into this sort of international, hotspot that it currently still is. It was also fueled, famously and historically by this illicit business. Our show is sort of the Casablanca of television. It's taking Casablanca and Rick's Cafe and Bogart into being the Mutiny Club, and instead of World War II as the background, it is the Cold War that is in full swing, and the beginnings of the war on drugs. And instead of Humphrey Bogart's character Rick, our narrator is Roman Comte, who's the general manager of the Mutiny Club, and he's really guiding us through and setting the table for this transformative period in South Florida.
Now, I write comic books, so I always create a character sometimes that can't escape his destiny. He runs away from what he's trying to do. And your character is similar in the sense that, he tried to divert from the family business. He tried to avoid, some of the badness, not all of it, but some of it. Do you think characters like yours actually have an ability to get away from it, or are they stuck in it?
I think that is sort of the overall question of our show is who are we really, and do certain moments in our lives, certain pressures that we're put under, does that reveal character, and does that reveal who we really are? And certainly Roman Comte is put under a lot of pressure by Michael Chiklis and his DEA character, Zulio, who comes in to the mutiny and approaches Roman, who is the general manager of the mutiny, not involved in any illicit business, as his own family has decided to, go in a different direction than his brother. His brother is the biggest marimbero in Miami, but he didn't start off that way. Both of them were in the Bay of Pigs. In the geopolitical times that was the Cold War and the war against communism in Cuba and elsewhere. And then once they arrived to Miami, they went in different directions. Roman is, like I said, a father and the general manager of the club, and Zulio puts him in a position where he threatens to arrest Roman by concocting charges and taking his daughter away and putting her in foster care if he doesn't infiltrate his brother's operation.
That's what I love about the show, and I love about certain shows that touch upon this, where there is a very fine line between somebody who goes after criminals and those who are actually committing crimes. That there's a very fine line between the two. And you're playing the other side of it from playing somebody who went after criminals. I mean, do you see the connection between the two?
Certainly. I think the connection between the two is good writing. The connection between all of these characters, whether it's, a character on Law and Order, or a character on Cold Case, to a character on Mayans, or, Roman Comte on Hotel Cocaine. And that is that these characters, whether they're carrying a badge and they represent law enforcement, or whether these characters are actually outlaws, the interesting thing to play is really good writing.
Now, what I love about this show is, and I love history and I love karma and everything else like that. So knowing that you were in 4 episodes of The Shield, and now you and Michael are starring in this show, I mean, how weird of a circle do you go in when you realize this is happening?
To me, it's an embarrassment of riches. I mean, because Michael Chiklis is not only a phenomenal actor, but he's just one of the best guys you'll ever meet. And I love working with Chicky. I mean, he brings it every single take. And I just love our scenes together. But the same is true, I think, for, our entire cast. I mean, we have a truly international cast. We have cast members from Spain, from Colombia, from Mexico, from Canada, from Australia, really from all over the world. And, it's been, a journey of hearing everybody's accents on screen and off screen, and representing South Florida in that true international, that international vibe that was beginning in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and is now, so well sewn within the fabric of what Miami is.
Now, Danny, this is a tough question for me, because I started my career as a criminal defense attorney. And after being able to stop it after 8 years, this like cloud came off of me. And I hear actors who do a lot of criminal dramas, and they do it for a long period of time, the scripts and the storylines, because they're actors, they're into these characters, that it affects them over a period of time. And you've done, most of your career, you've done some serious criminal shows. Did you find that, or was it just like, hey, it's a job, I show up, it's off me the minute I'm off the set?
I had an acting teacher, maybe one of the best acting teachers in the world, Zelda Fitchhandler. And Zelda, whenever we would do a scene, monologue, or a scene that demanded for us to really delve into the emotion of a certain situation, of a certain character, and understand that those, that the given circumstances, oftentimes, intellectually, that you are pretending, right? Because if not, you'd be crazy, right? So that you are, using your imagination to place yourself within the given circumstances of this character. But physiologically, your body, when you are going through that trauma of the character, it really doesn't know the difference. Your body doesn't. And so she said something that stuck with me after doing some, a monologue that was specifically meant to be, difficult emotionally. And she said to me and to the class, she said, you have to use it just like a tissue. You use it and then you throw it away. You use it and then you throw it away. Because, like you said, there is a residue that you can carry with you when you're dealing with such dark topics, and you're asking to, your job is to fully inhabit that. And so, yeah, there are times where I carry that home with me, and I'd sit in my my son's room, and especially when the topics were with children, when our episodes dealt with children. There were nights where they'd be asleep, my two sons would be asleep, and I would literally just sit in their room and just, be grateful that, this story has nothing really to do with, my life or my kids, and they're safe. And, it can get very personal, and you can carry it with you.
With about 2 minutes left, I want to ask you this question. It's always something I ask actors who get the opportunity to work with such fantastic actors like you've had over your career. Sometimes when you're on a set and you're in a role and the guy on the other side is acting against you or with you, they do such a ridiculous job. You get caught watching what they're doing and you forget you're not the audience. Have you ever had that experience?
Oh, that happens to me constantly. Yeah, maybe that means I'm a bad actor. I don't know. Cause I really do. I really do oftentimes get lost in another actor's performance. It does happen, and I've been very fortunate to be opposite such, incredibly talented people, whether, it's in my professional career or as a student, in a scene study class. And whether I'm in, the scene itself or whether I'm watching the scene, I'm constantly, and I think it's important as an actor to be able to be transported by other actors. You might not think that it's listening, but it means that you're really listening. You're really watching what's going on, and that method, the method of acting where you feel like you always need to be in it in order to experience it isn't 100% true. You can have a third eye on the scene and still very much be listening and still very much be contributing to the scene. Oftentimes that is the case, especially with fantastic actors where you're just, on an intellectual level, this person is special.
Well, I really love talking to you, Danny. I could do this for hours, but I know you got to move on. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate you, and thank you for the great questions.